A quiet transformation is shaping the world right now. No alarms, no countdown, no clear moment when everything changed. One day, paper letters ruled communication. The next, messages moved at the speed of light. The digital revolution did not enter history like a storm. It entered like fog, soft, invisible, and before most people noticed, it was everywhere, inside phones, inside homes, inside systems that decide what we see, what we buy, and sometimes what we believe. This revolution does not need armies or borders. It works through screens and signals, and that is what makes it so powerful. This video is about understanding that power, not in technical language, not in complex theories, but in clear human terms. Because the digital revolution is not just about machines. It is about people. It is about how information turned into data, how choices turned into calculations, how human strengths slowly moved from muscles to machines. In the past, power came from land, labor, and weapons. Today, power comes from data flows and invisible code. This shift is happening faster than any change before it, faster than the agricultural revolution, faster than the industrial age. And speed matters, because when change moves too fast, understanding falls behind. Many people think the digital revolution is only about convenience, faster communication, online shopping, smart devices. That is only the surface. Beneath it lies a deeper story. A story about how decisions are no longer made only by humans. Algorithms now decide which news spreads, which voices are amplified, which opportunities appear, and which disappear. These systems do not sleep, they do not forget, and they learn at a pace no human mind can match. This creates promise, but also risk. A promise of efficiency, connection, and knowledge. A risk of control, dependency, and loss of autonomy. In this video, you will learn what the digital revolution really is, beyond headlines and marketing slogans. You will understand how physical systems quietly became digital ones, how maps turned into GPS signals, how memories turned into cloud storage, how social interaction turned into data points. You will see why this revolution feels invisible, even though it affects nearly every decision made in modern life. And you will learn why many of the most important changes are not happening in factories or offices, but inside human behavior itself. There is a lesser-known truth that rarely gets discussed. Digital systems do not just respond to humans, they shape humans. When platforms measure attention, they learn how to capture it. When systems track emotion, they learn how to influence it. This is not science fiction. It is already happening. Recommendation engines guide tastes. Automated scoring systems affect loans, jobs, and travel. In some places, digital profiles matter more than personal stories. This is not always done with bad intentions. Often it is done for efficiency. But efficiency without wisdom can be dangerous. This video will also explore why the digital revolution feels different from past revolutions. In earlier times, machines replaced physical labor. Today, machines are beginning to replace cognitive tasks, writing, diagnosing, planning, even creating art. This raises a serious question. If machines can think faster and analyze deeper, what remains uniquely human? The answer is not obvious, and ignoring the question does not make it disappear. It only makes the future more uncertain. By staying until the end, you will gain a clearer picture of both sides of this revolution, not just the dangers that cause fear, but also the promise that creates hope. Technology can connect isolated communities. It can spread education to places once forgotten. It can help solve problems that were once impossible to manage. The same tools that can be used to monitor can also be used to heal. The same data that can be misused can also save lives. The outcome depends not on the machines, but on the values guiding them. This is not a video about rejecting technology. It is about understanding it before it fully defines the future. History shows that societies that fail to understand powerful tools often lose control over them. The digital revolution is still unfolding. Its final shape is not fixed. Laws, culture, education, and individual awareness still matter. The window for thoughtful action is open, but it will not stay open forever. By the end of this video, you will see the digital revolution not as a distant concept, but as a living force shaping everyday life. You will understand why attention is now a resource, why data is now power, and why the biggest challenge of this era is not technological, but human. The future will not be decided only by engineers and corporations. It will be shaped by how societies choose to use, limit, and question digital power. Welcome to our channel. This is a space for calm thinking in a noisy world. A place to step back and see the bigger picture behind modern life. If you want to understand the forces shaping the future, subscribe to the channel. Stay with us. The story of the digital revolution has only begun, and understanding it may be one of the most important skills of our time. Technology often feels like hope because it arrives with solutions in its hands. Problems that once took years now take seconds. Distance collapses into a screen. A message crosses oceans faster than a thought. Families separated by borders can speak face to face. Friends who never meet in person still share ideas, jokes, and support. Billions of people are connected through small glowing devices, forming the largest communication network in human history. For most of history, connection was limited by geography and power. Today, connection feels almost free. This alone creates a sense that the future is opening rather than closing. Knowledge is another reason technology inspires hope. For centuries, information lived behind walls, in libraries, in universities, in institutions that only a few could enter. Access depended on money, status, and location. Now, a single device can hold more information than the greatest libraries of the past. A student in a remote village can learn the same facts as a professor in a global city. Languages can be translated instantly. Complex ideas can be explained with clarity. This shift changes who gets to learn and who gets to teach. It weakens old gatekeepers and creates new paths for understanding. When people gain access to knowledge, they gain a sense of possibility. Medicine shows another hopeful face of technology. Data allows doctors to see patterns that were once invisible. Diseases can be detected earlier. Treatments can be personalized. AI systems can analyze scans with speed and accuracy that no human can match. Outbreaks can be tracked in real time. Lives can be saved through prediction rather than reaction. In many places, digital tools bring healthcare to people who were once unreachable. A phone becomes a clinic. A signal becomes a lifeline. This progress feels deeply human because it reduces suffering and extends life. Technology also gives power to voices that were once silent. In the past, only a few controlled the flow of information. Media was expensive. Publishing required approval. Speaking to the world was a privilege. Now a single post can reach millions. A small idea can grow into a global movement. Stories ignored by traditional systems can find space and attention. This creates a feeling of fairness and openness. It suggests that influence is no longer limited to the powerful, that anyone, anywhere, might be heard. Efficiency adds to this sense of promise. Tasks that once took hours are now automated. Systems run faster. Errors decrease. Resources can be managed with precision. Energy grids become smarter. Transportation becomes more organized. Everyday life feels smoother. Time is saved. Effort is reduced. Progress seems natural and inevitable. When technology works well, it feels like freedom. Freedom from friction. Freedom from delay. Freedom from limitation. Yet beneath this hopeful surface, another reality slowly forms. It does not arrive with warnings. It grows quietly, hidden inside the same systems that bring comfort. Every action leaves a trace. Every search, every click, every pause on a screen. This data does not disappear. It accumulates. It forms detailed profiles of behavior, preference, and emotion. Over time, these profiles become more accurate than personal memory. They know habits. They know routines. They know weaknesses. Data becomes valuable, not because it tells stories, but because it predicts behavior. In earlier eras, power came from controlling land or machines. Today, power comes from controlling information about people. Data is refined, traded, and analyzed. It flows through servers instead of pipelines, but its value rivals any natural resource. Those who collect it gain insight into how societies move, think, and react. Governments and companies use this data to observe behavior at a scale never seen before. Often this observation is justified as safety, efficiency, or personalization. Systems claim to serve users better, to reduce risk, to improve experience. Sometimes this is true, but observation easily becomes influence. When behavior is predictable, it can be shaped. When choices are mapped, they can be guided. When emotions are tracked, they can be triggered. This shift changes the balance of power. Individuals still feel free, but their environment is increasingly designed around them. News feeds adapt, ads adjust, content shifts to match emotional states. The system does not need to force obedience. It only needs to nudge attention. Over time, these nudges add up. They shape opinions without direct commands. They influence decisions without open debate. Control becomes subtle, almost invisible. The danger here is not a single authority watching everyone. It is a network of systems optimizing outcomes without understanding meaning. These systems are built to maximize engagement, efficiency, and profit. They do not ask whether the result strengthens society. They ask whether it keeps attention, whether it increases clicks, whether it extends usage time. In this logic, truth becomes secondary. Algorithms are not villains. They do not hold beliefs or intentions. They follow instructions. If the goal is engagement, they will find whatever holds attention best. Often, that is not calm explanation, it is outrage, fear simplified narratives, strong emotions spread faster than balanced views. This is not because people are weak. It is because human psychology is predictable. As a result, lies can travel faster than facts, not because they are convincing, but because they are stimulating. Anger spreads faster than patience. Certainty spreads faster than doubt. The system learns this pattern and reinforces it. Content that divides rises. Content that explains sinks. Over time, the information environment becomes noisy and unstable. Trust begins to erode. People struggle to agree on basic facts. Shared reality weakens. When truth feels negotiable, cooperation becomes harder. Democracy depends on common ground. When that ground fractures, society becomes fragile. This is not caused by technology alone, but technology amplifies it. The most unsettling part is how normal this all feels. Surveillance does not feel like surveillance when it arrives as convenience. Influence does not feel like control when it arrives as personalization. People trade data for comfort without noticing the exchange. The system does not need permission. Participation is automatic. Opting out becomes difficult, sometimes impossible. Technology promised freedom, and in many ways it delivered, but freedom without awareness is fragile. When systems know more about individuals than individuals know about themselves, the direction of power quietly changes. Choice still exists, but it is shaped by invisible structures. Attention becomes a battlefield, and most people do not know they are fighting. This tension between promise and cost defines the digital age. The same tools that connect can isolate. The same systems that inform can mislead. The same efficiency that saves time can remove reflection. None of this happens because of malice. It happens because systems follow incentives, not values. Understanding this does not require technical knowledge, it requires awareness. Awareness that progress is not neutral, that tools shape behavior, that speed can outrun wisdom. The digital revolution feels like hope because it solves problems quickly, but quick solutions often hide long-term consequences. As technology continues to evolve, these patterns deepen, systems grow more complex, data grows richer, influence grows more precise. The question is no longer whether this change is happening, it is how consciously societies respond to it. Without awareness, power drifts upward and inward, away from individuals and towards systems that operate beyond public understanding. The digital revolution does not announce its dangers. It integrates them into daily life. That is why the promise feels so bright and the cost so easy to ignore. Work has always been more than a way to earn food or money. It has been a source of identity, a structure for time, a reason to wake up each morning with purpose. For thousands of years, people understood who they were through what they did. Farmer, builder, teacher, trader. Work connected individuals to society and gave meaning to effort and sacrifice. The digital revolution quietly begins to loosen this bond. Machines are no longer limited to physical strength. They now learn, adapt, and improve. They read texts, recognize faces, predict patterns, and write code. In many fields, they already outperform humans in speed and accuracy. This shift is not slow. It is accelerating. Skills that took decades to master can become outdated in a few years. Entire professions feel stable one moment and uncertain the next. New jobs will appear, as they always have. History shows that technology destroys some roles and creates others. But this time is different in scale and speed. Not everyone can easily move from old skills to new ones. Learning itself becomes a moving target. By the time a person adapts, the target shifts again. Some people thrive in this environment. Many do not. The problem is not simply unemployment. Societies can support people financially. The deeper issue is what happens when work no longer provides meaning, when effort no longer leads to recognition, when contribution feels invisible. A person without work is not only without income, they are often without direction. As machines take over more tasks, humans are pushed toward roles that demand creativity, emotional intelligence, and ethical judgment. Yet even these areas are changing. Machines can now generate music, images, and text. They can detect emotions through patterns of speech and behavior. They can anticipate reactions before people are aware of them. This blurs the line between human uniqueness and machine capability. If machines can do what once defined human value, people begin to question their place. Identity becomes unstable. Purpose becomes fragile. This leads to a quiet psychological crisis, a sense that effort no longer matters, that personal growth is optional, that systems run on their own logic, indifferent to individual contribution. When meaning erodes, anxiety fills the gap. People search for identity in extremes, in rigid beliefs, in simple answers, in nostalgia for a past that felt clearer. Technology does not cause this directly, but it accelerates it by changing the conditions of life faster than culture can adapt. At the same time, technology learns more about humans than humans consciously know about themselves. Every interaction becomes feedback. Every hesitation becomes data. Patterns reveal preferences, fears, and desires. Systems can detect mood shifts from typing speed or voice tone. They can infer emotional states without words. This knowledge allows technology to respond in ways that feel personal, comforting, persuasive, familiar. Over time, this response shapes behavior. Desires do not form in isolation anymore. They are influenced by recommendation systems that decide what appears and what disappears. Choices feel free, but they are guided. Attention is directed. Habits are reinforced. When people rely on systems to decide what to watch, read, or buy, decision-making slowly weakens. Convenience replaces reflection. Automatic responses replace conscious choice. Freedom depends on awareness. When choices are shaped without awareness, freedom becomes an illusion. People still choose, but within boundaries they did not design and often do not see. The danger is not control through force. It is control through comfort. When systems know what will keep people engaged, they prioritize that outcome, not truth, not growth, engagement. This influence is subtle and constant. It does not feel oppressive. It feels normal. That is why it is powerful. People trust systems that serve them well. They surrender small decisions, then larger ones. Over time, the ability to pause, question, and resist weakens. This is not a failure of individuals. It is a predictable result of environments designed for efficiency rather than autonomy. Yet this path is not fixed. Technology does not arrive with moral direction. It reflects the values of those who design it and those who regulate it. Systems optimize for goals given to them. If the goal is profit, they will pursue profit. If the goal is control, they will pursue control. If the goal is human well-being, they can be shaped toward that too. The tools are flexible. The values are not automatic. Responsibility, therefore, returns to humans, not just engineers and leaders, but societies as a whole. Decisions about data, privacy, automation, and education are ethical decisions. They shape how power flows and who holds it. The question is not what machines are capable of doing. Their capabilities will continue to grow. The question is what should be allowed, encouraged, or limited. This requires slow thinking in a fast system. It requires asking uncomfortable questions about progress. It requires admitting that not every innovation improves life, even if it improves efficiency. Human values evolve slowly. Trust, meaning, dignity, and freedom cannot be optimized like software. They require protection. As technology becomes more integrated into daily life, the human role must be redefined. Not as competitors with machines, but as guardians of meaning. Machines can process information. Humans must decide purpose. Machines can predict outcomes. Humans must decide which outcomes matter. If this responsibility is ignored, systems will fill the gap with their own logic. The digital revolution offers extraordinary tools. Whether these tools deepen human life or hollow it out depends on choices made now. Work, identity, freedom, and responsibility are being reshaped at the same time. None of this is inevitable. It is the result of direction, and direction always comes from values, whether consciously chosen or quietly assumed. The future, shaped by digital technology, is not written yet. That is the most important thing to remember. Tools do not decide on their own how they are used. Humans do. What can be done starts with understanding. Digital literacy is no longer optional. It is as basic as reading and writing. People must know how systems work, how data is collected, and how influence operates. Without this knowledge, individuals remain vulnerable even while feeling informed. Critical thinking matters more than ever in a world flooded with information. Not every message deserves trust. Not every trend deserves attention. Learning to pause, question, and verify is a form of freedom. It protects the mind in the same way laws protect the body. Education must focus not only on skills, but on judgment, on the ability to tell what is useful, what is harmful, and what is simply noise. Strong institutions also play a role that individuals cannot carry alone. Human rights must not disappear in the digital age. Privacy, dignity, and freedom of thought must be defended with the same seriousness as physical safety. Laws and systems need to keep pace with innovation, not chase it years later. Ethics cannot be an afterthought. When technology moves fast and values move slowly, damage spreads before anyone reacts. None of this requires fear. It requires awareness. The digital revolution carries immense promise. It can reduce suffering. It can expand knowledge. It can connect humanity in ways once impossible. But the same systems can also narrow choices, weaken trust, and quietly limit freedom. The difference lies in intention and responsibility. The technology is already here. It will not disappear. What remains open is the direction it takes. This is not a choice made once, but every day, by what we accept, by what we allow to shape our lives without reflection. The digital revolution can help humanity grow wiser, or it can slowly decide for us what matters. The choice is still ours. If you found this video valuable, support the channel by liking and sharing it. These small actions help thoughtful ideas reach more people. And if you want to keep exploring the forces shaping the future, subscribe to the channel. Stay curious, stay aware. The next chapter is being written right now.